Warning. The facts you are about to hear are based off 2 hours of researching the pros and cons of history's heroes and most controversial figures. This is Pros and Conquerors, the bad boys of history.
It's like comedy, bro. We're gonna bomb sometimes. It's okay.
Let's start this episode off the way I used to start off every episode in high school. Webster's Dictionary defines communism as a political theory derived from Karl Marx, advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. Did you used to start off essays like that too? Like whatever the essay was on? Webster's Dictionary defines. Like that's how I used to.
That's actually a good way to do it because that gets words in.
It gets
like
it's
fill
such a
some
little
words.
Sneaky way to.
But with me in essays, I would just not do them. I was.
You're a high school dropout.
Yeah, I was a very
fucking
bad student.
Classic. As white as he sounds, he's still.
That's why I keep telling people I sound white, but my life is very black. Very black life.
Anyways, right now, with everything going on with these rules of the pandemic, different things that are upsetting people, a lot of people will say Canada's becoming communist. And I don't understand that because I don't really know what communism is.
This is Marxism, guys. You don't understand. This is Marxism. That's what I hear a lot of.
So a political theory derived from Karl Marx, advocating class war. Are we advocating class war right now? Is it kind of? Is something happening advocating class war and leading to a society in which, here's the part that is kind of happening, perhaps, is leading to a society in which property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. Now, when you put everyone at home and you just hand them a paycheck, I guess that could kind of be communist, right?
Yep. See, and yeah, definitely. And I think where it would cross a line is, and I think I heard them tinkering with this idea, is that the businesses that couldn't stay afloat, like they would get a loan and then the government would own part of that business.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's where it gets like, that's.
I've heard exactly that. And I've also heard that the grand scheme is that it's making people out of work for so long that eventually there's going to be, people need money. People are going to be in debt, and the government's going to say, okay, here's debt forgiveness. Here's money, but in return, we're going to own your property. Yeah. And you can still get checks from us. We're going to still send you checks. But by the way, that land you own is ours. Yeah. So if that starts happening, then everyone can, and all these conspiracy theories might be starting to come true.
And then you can't leave. You won't be able to leave the country if that happens.
Which is something that I never understood about these communist countries too. Like we talked about it in Vietnam, we talked about it in Cuba, where a communist regime comes up, and then people are pretty much having to flee the country, like in a way that they won't let you leave. I don't get that part of it, where it's like, no, you can't go anywhere else. Like, why do they want to keep people there? Do you know why?
Because at that point they need the people. Like if you're gonna pay everybody, like Cuba with their doctors, their doctors can't all leave. They'd be fucked.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? So it's like they and on top of it, it's like if they're giving you money, then they can say if you're leaving or not.
You owe us.
Yeah, like you can't just like, where are you going? There's work. Damn. There's work to be done. We've given you money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where are you going?
Now
and they'd want to know why. They'd be like, what's the reason for this? We gave you this money for living, and now you're traveling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really something that we gotta dive more into that. But today, the reason I bring up communism off the top is because although Karl Marx is the one that started the theory, who really started that gangster shit in the world? Who really got the first communist regime to sprout out? And it started in Russia. Guys, today on Pros and Conquerors, the bad boys of history, we're talking about that bad boy, Vladimir Lenin, the guy that started that gangster shit in Russia.
Got the party started.
The Communist Party, that is, politically. Hero or villain, the founder of the Soviet Union. He overthrew the largest country in the world. Man, this guy, different opinions on him. There was statues of him that have already been taken down.
Really?
1990, yeah, he was pretty much seen as a hero for a couple decades after his death, but then eventually in hindsight people were like, you know what, this guy was kind of fucked up, and they tore down his statues. Now let's get into him. I honestly personally never even heard the name Vladimir Lenin. I always heard, when I think about Russia's like the dark times in Russia, I think the name Joseph Stalin comes up. I hear that name, but I haven't really heard much about Lenin before.
The only time I hear Lenin is sometimes people will say these Marx Lenin ideologies. That's the only time I've ever heard his name. I've never actually heard his full name.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't even know it was Vladimir.
Karl Marx is the one that came up with the theory, but I guess Lenin, he studied it and then kind of repackaged some of those ideas, Leninism or whatever.
So he was talking about it, and then
that's
Lenin
a thing,
was
right?
Like,
Leninism.
And Lenin was like, "I'm gonna be about it." He's like, "Let's
Yes.
do this." He's like, "You just writing shit down, dog. Let's
Yeah.
go."
Yeah. You got ideas? I got fucking...
I got plans, nigga.
So I looked up Leninism, and it just says Marxism as interpreted and applied by Lenin. So it's the whole... interpreted is one thing, but the applied thing is the real G shit that this guy did, because...
That's what they say, man. You got to apply your knowledge for it to be effective.
Exactly. Now, Lenin, he was born Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, which is not Lenin. A lot of these guys that we've talked about change their name. A lot of these guys that get into communism, they're like, I gotta shake. You know what? Fuck that. I need to be a new name with this communist shit.
You know, it's fine. I was gonna change my name.
Yeah, because you're a commie bastard.
Yeah, I guess so. I was gonna change it to Michael Crown.
The Michael Crown affair?
What? Is that a thing?
Isn't it?
Is it? Oh fuck!
I thought that was a movie.
No, it's just my middle name in the first. It's like my porn name, basically.
My porn name's already James Cummins.
Well, mine would be.
And someday, some lucky lady's gonna be Cummins for the rest of her life.
Ooh, that was.
Don't steal that, eh?
I have to steal it. Mine's Cummings. Yours is Cummins.
Yeah.
I actually have it. Like it's coming. Yeah.
Okay, there's Michael in the Crown, but yeah, no. I maybe there's Thomas Crown or something. Anyways.
Thomas Crown. That is what it is.
Yeah,
Thomas
yeah.
Crown.
So Lenin, he didn't come from a poor family. Like you would think that a guy that has these... Okay, when I think about communism, like who's an advantage for? It's definitely not an advantage for the rich. Is it an advantage for the poor? Because it seems like it screws over the poor people in the end too. So is it a middle class thing? Like I don't really get who it helps.
I think it helps the people who are running it.
So
because like I guess I don't know. It's like everybody becomes like batteries. It's like we're giving you this much fuel.
Yeah.
You have this assignment, and now like do it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And like there's not much else to do other than work. I mean that's what you see in Cuba a lot. Like I said, like doctors are getting paid like people who work at resorts make more than people who are doctors.
No way.
Yeah, of course. Because the people at resorts are getting tips. Doctors don't get fucking tips at all.
Yeah, because so I guess the way it's worked in the world, at least so far, the two people that we looked at was Che Guevara and Ho Chi Minh. And both times it was communism sounds like a good idea for everyone when you're taking out the previous dictatorship, but then when the person gets in power, it's pretty much a big sham to be like, hey guys, we're gonna make everything good for everyone, and then it's just like once you're in power, it's like, oh, by the way, it's actually just for me and my boys.
Yeah, exactly, because it's like everything in terms of quality of life might be like stable, but it's like everybody all of a sudden has less, and then you're like this emperor, dictator, whatever, and you have like 40 Rolls Royces, you have a bunch of chicks that you bang, like everything just changes. Now
the one thing I'll say about Lenin, of all the research I did on him, good, bad, and ugly, the one thing they did say is he was, out of all these guys that have had their revolution and end up doing that, buying all this stuff, getting all these fancy things, he was not like that. He did have his bad qualities in other ways, but he didn't just fucking rise to power and stun on people. He always like had a pretty like humble, he didn't, not humble, but he didn't have like,
he didn't indulge.
Rich, indulge in rich things.
Yo, that's like more crazy in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, because he's like doing this shit and he's like, I don't even want anything.
He liked the power part. He liked being able to say, hey, you disagree with me, you're dead.
Yeah, true.
But he wasn't like wearing a gold chain while doing it.
Yeah.
For those of you watching at home, I'm wearing a Russian hat. You know what I mean? We're doing a Russian episode, but at the same time, shout out to capitalism. I got Ric Flair on my shirt. That jet flying, limousine riding, fucking Rolex wearing, son of a gun.
Woo!
Woo!
I love that. I love when he says that.
I'm a capitalist.
I
want to make money and stunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to be rich. And
I would hate to get to the point where I'm rich and they're like, oh, by the way, we're gonna make everything equal for everyone now.
Yeah. Ugh. I'd be like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I just worked so hard. You can put me in government or something?
I found out recently that secret for all of our viewers and listeners, the secret to making lots of money is working lots of overtime. It's actually, anyone can do it. Find a job that has lots of overtime and just work. And then look at your paycheck and be like, God damn, overtime really adds up.
That's from a Jamaican person and an Irish person. Okay, just fucking work overtime.
Work mad overtime. You're not going to see your family anymore, but you will have a big bank account.
That's an Irish proverb. You want more money? Work more overtime.
I was telling somebody, I'm like, I'm getting rich. Like what do you do? What's the secret? I'm like, I just work lots of overtime.
Yeah, fuck.
Anyways, so Lenin, he came from a very well-educated family. Like they were not royal, but they were noble. You know what I mean? They came from noble stock. Like they were a respected family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were like intellectuals, I think.
Yeah, they were it was called, in Russia, they had a group called the intelligentsia. And it's basically people that are educated enough to discuss, you know, the future of politics, the future of this and that, like actually have good ideas to progress the country.
So yeah, India has that too. They're called Brahmins. The people who are like at the top. They can meditate all day and they can just talk issues and shit.
Exactly.
Never work.
That was the stock that he came from. And at the time, I guess it was the mid to late 1800s when he was coming up as a child and as a teenager. And at the time, most of Russia was very uneducated, very behind the rest of the world in terms of that.
True.
So it was like a small group of people that actually had the intelligence, and at least from what I know, from what I learned. So his older brother was very smart. He went to college or university to become a scientist, and at that time he joined what was called a terrorist group that wanted to take out the Tsar. Like Tsar is like king, the king of Russia. So they were making plans to take out the current Tsar. They got caught, and his brother was hung.
Damn.
His brother was hung, and at this time, Vlad was 17 years old. So obviously that must have had an influence in his life, knowing that his brother made the effort to take out the king and got hung for it.
And
so
he finished the job.
So
wow. At 17, he was like, okay.
Well, it took a while before he actually got to finish the job, because now, even with all that going on, the same year that his brother was hung, Vlad became the valedictorian of his school. He's like, it ain't gonna fuck me up with the books. You know what I mean? Brother's dead, but
yeah,
because that would shake you up. Your brother got hung by the king.
Yeah, of course. I'd have to try and kill somebody.
So he went to law school, but only a few months into his first semester, he got expelled for joining a protest that was just about changing rules in the school.
True.
Because he was already under tight watch from, I guess, the Russian police, because they knew his brother was into that shit. So they saw him being like, oh, this guy wants change too? Get him the fuck out of school. It was straight up like, I don't know what changes you want in school, like better lunch in the cafeteria, you know what I mean, better teachers. And they're like, no. We don't want change around here.
Yeah,
not from your family.
100%. That's what it did. He's a legacy.
And so when he got expelled, he was still a smart guy. He wanted to keep learning. And this is when he started educating himself with Karl Marx.
See, like this
should have never kicked him out.
Exactly, but 100%. Same with Ochi Man. I was gonna say,
right?
There's always like a connecting thing with these guys who get like this. Like they go through some wild shit, and they get fucking shunned or something in some way, and then they go, okay,
100%.
That's what you want to do.
Very. Yeah. Though that timeline kind of overlaps in terms of getting. You're chasing your dream. Okay, you want to become a lawyer? No, because you want change.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Now he has to find a different way to make change. And where does he find that? In the writings of Karl Marx. Around this time, the Tsar, the king, they had slavery in Russia where these peasants were doing work in the fields, like farming for their landlords, which were basically slave owners. Now he abolished that, but it didn't really do anything good for the peasant class, because he's like, oh, by the way, you're still in debt to those landlords because they're still letting you live there. So it was still, it was pretty much the same shit, just giving repackaged. Like he's like, he took the ugly name away, but he left them in terrible conditions. Now, they were in debt. Their lives didn't get better. And in 1891, there was a famine, 300K to 5 million dead. That's how big of a, like some people say it was at least 300K, but up to 5 million dead.
It probably was closer to that for sure, because I've heard about this famine.
Yeah,
where I think like the government was like posting things like, don't eat your kids, like it's bad to eat your kids.
Whew.
Because people were just starving, and they had to like let people know, like don't get to that point.
But then how do you become a god? You have to eat your young.
What? No.
No,
yeah.
isn't that a thing? Like Saturn, like ate his child and became a god or something like that.
I think he was one, and he just didn't want his son to like overthrow him one day. But if you want to become a god, you got to eat your dad. Just his heart. That's coming from African warlords. Just
watch
his
out,
heart.
Dad.
You don't want to have to eat a whole fucking person, but the heart, you know.
Yeah. See, Dad, you could have avoided that if you just listened to my podcast.
Oh shit.
No.
That's a crazy call out. Oh, Dad, I'm gonna kill you.
I got to become a god. Anyways, so Lenin was actually happy about this famine because reading Karl Marx, I guess he came to the conclusion where people would have to die in large numbers before the country would want a revolution. They would need to see that before they can actually be like, we need to change something around here.
So he's like taking a crisis and taking advantage of it, basically.
Isn't that what's kind of happening right now?
Well, yeah.
God damn. No wonder people keep saying this communism shit's gonna pop up because
that's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Right
wow.
Now. Yeah. And it's like
that just stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing about this. There's a guy, Paul. I think his name's Paul Karlinski, something like that, and he talks about this same stuff. He has a book called Rules for Radicals, and this is what they do. There's like a playbook of this shit.
Wow.
Always.
So at the time, it was a big farming country and stuff. Like there was warehouses and stuff, but they didn't really like stress how important that was in society. Now, Karl Marx said an industrialized society is the most likely to lead a revolution. He believed that they would want to rise up against commercialism. So Lenin believed that his group of intelligentsia people would guide the uneducated peasants. He'd be like, you guys, let's get in these warehouses and start working and make demands about basically shorter hours and higher pay if you work in a warehouse, because at that time they would work like crazy hours. Like I said, work overtime. But his idea for a revolution was to make more people working in these warehouses. So that would make like 8-hour shifts. Then the next group has to come in 8-hour shift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of making one group work that long. So they went and handed out flyers at a factory, like throwing out these ideas, like let's get these guys on board with it. But they got caught doing that by the Russian police, and they were thrown in jail.
Fuck.
They were thrown in jail. Now, while he was in jail for 40 months, he read and wrote plans for the revolution. So these guys, when they go to jail, they make good use of their time.
Yeah, they don't fuck around. They're like rappers. They get to writing. They're like, let's get it.
Now, here's the interesting part. When after the 40 months in prison, I don't know how Russia works with their laws and stuff, but part of like the punishment was he got exiled to Siberia, but they gave him 3 years of a government pension while he was there, so he could pretty much just live without working, which is like weird. But that gave him all the time in the world to write his ideas. You know,
maybe it was just like a rule they had because of like the nation that they were.
Like we don't want you hanging around here giving your communist ideas. So we're gonna tell you to go over there, but we'll take care of you while you're over there.
Yeah, you're still a part of this, so we'll give you money.
Siberia, it sounds like a place it sounds like a place you get exiled to, eh? It doesn't sound like you go on vacation to Siberia.
No, it sounds horrible.
You get exiled to Siberia.
It sounds like there's a lot of cement, just cement and forest.
Do you know any Siberians?
Fuck no.
So
hell no. Never.
So while he was in Siberia, he continued writing ideas for the revolution and sending them to his socialist group in Russia, who would publish them as secret essays. And he would use a variety of different names, but this is where he finally landed on the name Vladimir Lenin, because he was probably writing shit. So his idea was, if I write stuff as different names, they're going to think, oh, all these different people are agreeing on these ideas.
Ooh, that's what they do with social media now.
What do you mean? Explain.
You take like if you take like a post and you want people to like get behind the post, you'd have a bunch of bots jump onto the post and agree. And then when somebody goes there, they look at the post and then they see all the agreeing. And they go, okay. And they start to kind of manipulate your thoughts.
So people got that from Lenin. Like, I think that was this is like a guy that started these things.
The first people who were known to do it was Russia in the elections. That's exactly what they were doing. They were acting like they were black people, Southern people. They're fucking.
So
with
the
people.
blueprint was this guy living in Siberia, writing letters under different names, and then his socialist group would distribute them as like flyers, whatever.
That was his Twitter.
Right.
That's
crazy.
fucked. That was his Twitter.
Just hiding out, different fucking. What do you call it when you use like a hidden account? What do you call it?
Alias. Oh, a burner account.
A burner account.
Yeah.
This guy just had burner accounts. But then eventually the name Lenin, they were like, oh, out of all these guys, these Lenin ideas are really slapping. So he's like, I'm Lenin. Like of all the fake names that he identified or he hid himself under, Lenin's the one that he's like, this guy is getting the most traction.
Let me roll with this one.
So
That's so funny. He just made a bunch of different pages,
yeah,
whichever one took off.
yeah, just like us and fucking a bunch of different podcasts.
Yeah, why? Once one pops off,
Once
we're
one
gonna be
pops
like,
up,
yo,
that's our podcast.
This fucking.
Now, after his 3-year exile in Siberia, he was able to go to Germany. Now, I guess when you're exiled, they're keeping tabs on you, making sure you're staying in that place. Because now, after his 3 years, he went to Germany, and this is where he started printing off socialist newspapers. He would print them off in Russia so he wouldn't get in trouble because Germans didn't read Russian, I guess.
True.
And then he would have them smuggled into Russia to be distributed. One of his smugglers was Joseph Stalin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Yo, that's crazy.
So Stalin was already on board with like the communist idea and everything, but I guess this is when they started to link up back then.
That's like George Clooney and Brad Pitt just bumping into each other before they're famous.
True. Yeah.
It's wild.
After he started building up some traction with these ideas, he returned to Russia and began meeting with socialist groups about the revolution, and he despised anyone that disagreed with his ideas. Apparently, he would insult them so bad that they would leave the meetings. He'd be like,
yo, you just said this. Yo, we know somebody who could become like this. We know a dude who could become like this.
is it a Russian?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
So he had ideas, and he'd be like, if anyone disagreed with even the smallest thing, he'd be like, he would just, you fucking coward, you pussy, da, da, da. Like,
oh
yep,
my God.
I know.
It's
And
the
they're-
same thing. Holy shit.
So this is where he started. So he called people that agreed with him the Bolshevik. The Bolshevik means the majority. I forget what the name for the minority was, but basically that his political party was called the Bolshevik because he just called the majority. He's like, everyone agrees with us. If you don't agree with us, you're stupid. I mean, you're
That's how you do it. That's how
we're the
they
majority
do it.
party. We're the majority party. Even though at the time they were not the majority. He called them the majority. He's like, everyone in Russia wants this.
Yeah, that's how you do it, man. You just got to be like, yo, everybody's with this. And whoever's not, then they look crazy. Even if they are the majority, if this minority stays loud enough, they look like they're the majority.
Wow.
And he just painted like a narrative. He called himself the majority. Wow, that's so smart. He just called himself
the majority.
Yo, that's fucked. That's like being like, I'm making the I'm always right party.
Yeah. We're the #1 history comedy podcast in the world. And if you didn't know it, we called ourselves it.
100%. Done.
It is what it is. Now, obviously, when you work hard, you got these ideas, you go on vacation sometimes. So he went on vacation in around 1904 for about a year. But the Bolshevik kept the cause going. And in 1905, there was a protest outside the King's Palace of asking for an 8-hour workday. Seems reasonable.
Wow.
Asking for an 8-hour workday. They even sang God Save the Tsar to show that it's not an anti-royal thing. It's just about having better working conditions. Reasonable. But the Tsar, in response, said, hey, guards, go fire at that crowd of protesters.
Wow. As they're singing, God save the
Yeah, and they killed thousands of protesters. Killed thousands.
Gangsters, man.
When Lenin heard this, he's like, I got to get back from my vacation. He got back from his vacation, and he this is when he tried to do his first violent uprising. He wrote ideas about pouring hot acid on the royals, and he actually had specific ways to kill the enemies. This is the first time in revolution history that like part of the writings were like, yo, we're gonna kill them like this. We're gonna it was some bloodthirsty shit, you know?
Again, he took advantage of like something that happened. Like he saw that and he's like, oh, now they're gonna be with me. Easy. He's like, let's go. And he just ran over there.
Class war. Karl Marx.
This is how we're gonna kill them.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, yes.
Well, everybody wasn't like yes, because even though he called them the majority, they weren't the majority yet, because he didn't get enough support for it. And when you're writing those hot takes, If you don't get enough support, you gotta get the fuck out because you're in trouble. So like people knew he was writing this shit, and he didn't get enough support, so he had to flee the country. He left again, and this was, I guess this was around 1904, 1906. So he actually left for a little bit. Like he didn't come back for a while because he didn't come back until World War One started putting a World War One started what, 1914, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So he left for about 10 years. World War One, it put a damper on any revolution going on because there was other priorities. But at this time, the king, he or the Tsar, he went to join the war, and he left Rasputin in charge. You remember Rasputin?
I know that.
Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. You know that song?
No.
Really?
Who's
there
it
lived
by?
a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, and his eyes were flaming gold.
Who's that by?
ABBA.
Oh, okay. So, like I said before, I sound white, but my life is very black, and I've never heard that song.
It's a good song. But anyways, Rasputin, I guess he used to...
Wait.
Allegedly
It goes...
used to,
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Oh, I have heard that song. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I've heard that.
that.
Okay, never mind.
But the thing about him is he was seen as like a Christ-like figure. Apparently he did miracles and all this stuff. Like people saw... We might have to do a Rasputin episode one day because I don't know that much about him, but
Miracles.
just knowing that basically while the king was away, Rasputin played. He fucked the queen. He did all this stuff. He was a good-looking guy. But a lot of people were pissed off because he brought in all these new rules. He left like his best friends in power. Like he was pissing people off. You know what I mean? He was harshly criticized. So this started turning more people against the Russian people that were in power.
The way it was.
You know what I mean?
The royals or whatever.
When Russia returned from war for the first time, now many were trained in shooting guns. They had to train these peasant class, these lower middle class to go to war for them. But now the problem is they come back, they're mad at the government, or they're mad at the royals, the kingship, and now they have the fucking guns, the gun training to actually do something about it.
Yo, that's actually funny. Yeah, that's crazy. Because, that's how, like, I won't say how cartels start, but most cartels, like, that's what it is.
What?
They work for the government, they become soldiers, and they're in the army for years, and then they get, like, fucked over, and then they just, like, shift.
Ooh.
And, like, that's, like, most cartel guys are, like, highly trained people.
That's interesting. That's why you got to take care of your soldiers after they do stuff, because, well,
because you just
when you see... Yeah, you sent them to war. So a lot of these times you see American guys begging for a change in their army uniform, which is not taking care of them. On the flip side, you see guys like Ho Chi Minh where they overthrow the government, but then they take the best care of the soldiers.
Yeah,
it is a good idea to take the best care of soldiers. I know it looks bad on you sometimes, but at the same time, you want the guys that know how to use the guns to be on your side.
Yeah. The guys who are highly trained and like know how to use tactics. They know how to take over a building quick.
Exactly.
You keep those guys.
Which leads me to my next point. These guys, they come back, they knew how to use guns and stuff, so they stormed the castle, they overthrew the government. They didn't kill the royals, but they're just like, you know what? You guys aren't making decisions anymore.
Wow.
So, and this is when Lenin was still exiled. So Lenin saw that the revolution started without him, and he started panicking. He's like, fuck, this shit's starting without me. So he rushed back. But at the time, so now there was two people that were making decisions in Russia. There was the provincial government, and then there was the working Soviets.
Okay.
So the provincial government, he knew he couldn't really sway because the guy that was in charge of that was a very smart guy, like really smart guy that people were trusting. And he's like, fuck, I can't. The revolution started. This guy's already leading that shit. So he's like, I got to go for the working class, the dumb ones, to be honest.
Bro, it's a tactic that's still going on.
The guys that were
working class.
So he got off a train in Russia, and before even like saying hi to his boys, they're waiting for him. He just stood up on like a podium, and he's like, "You guys fucked up this revolution. Like you letting the provincial people run shit." He's like, "We got to take them out." He came out with these hot takes, and people were like, "Yo, we just got the royals out of here. Like, chill, guy. Like, we haven't even like settled in yet." But he just wanted to make like a statement, but people weren't really on board with it because they were like they didn't even know if they did a good or bad job yet. Like
exactly, and that's why he did it that quickly.
Yeah,
like you just said, they weren't even settled in yet. So if you do it before they're settled in, you can like still move shit. You know,
try to at least. But he didn't get that much support right away. This was around I guess 1914, 1915, and because the war had probably like let's say 1915. I don't know. 2 hours of research. I tried, guys. But anyways, while he was giving speeches around trying to like, basically, he was trying to make it now working class versus the provincial government. But even the working class, they didn't even know how things were going to work yet. So they were like, this guy sounds smart, but the other guy sounds smart. I don't know what to believe. While he was giving a speech one day, somebody from the provincial government just rolled up on the speech and was like, he's a German spy. Gangsta. And then he's like, what? and the crowd started turning on him because like, it's one of those things, like you just hear that and you're like, nah, fuck, because Russia was at war with Germany at the time.
Yeah.
World War.
He just called somebody racist. That's what he did. They just branded him as a thing. And they just said, as long as we brand him as this and we just put it out there.
Yeah.
Because once you put it out there, it's out there.
And the fact that he was like studying from Karl Marx German, so these ideas come from Germany.
Yeah.
It was easy to put that on him. And he'd be like, fuck. So the crowd turned against him and he had to run away. He had to disguise himself and he went to Finland.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn.
So he left. Like this guy, he kept coming back to Russia trying to come with these ideas. And he's like, fuck, I gotta get out. This is the second time he came back with some hot ideas and he had to get the fuck out because people weren't buying it.
Yeah, fuck. That's crazy. That's actually sick. This guy just keeps going and coming back. He's like, let me just try this one time. Yeah, he's like making bits. He's like, let me just try this bit. This won't go over good with these guys.
It's like jumping in a pool and realizing you don't know how to swim. It's like, fuck, I wasn't ready for the deep end yet.
And then he got a heckler. He didn't know what to do. He's like, oh, fuck.
I don't know how to deal with hecklers yet. I had my bits. I had my act, but you just knocked me off.
I had 3 more minutes. That's all I had. That's all I needed.
This guy didn't even let me hit my closer.
I was going to hit him with the closer, how we were going to murder him.
Oh, man.
Now I'm a German spy.
So, away again, but this time he comes up with the real good plan. October 1917. He comes back. He sneaks back into Russia and organized a group because he still had followers, and he got them to storm the palace and arrest the provincial government, the guys that he wanted to overthrow
at gunpoint.
What
the fuck?
So basically, they rolled up into the castle where the provincial government was. They got them at gunpoint and they threw them in jail. I don't know how this worked out that he had, because at the time he didn't have all this support, but he had enough to go in there, arrest them at gunpoint, put them in jail, and now he's like, I'm the leader now. No election, nothing like that. He's just like, hey guys, I run shit.
And it's so funny because it's like, first he's like, hey guys, listen. And then again, he's like, hey guys, you gotta listen. And the third time he's just like, yo, fuck this. I'm taking it over. I'm murdering people. Whoever. And that's probably why he got to like, yo, if you disagree, I'm gonna kill you. Because he's like, I've had too many people disagree with my ideas. He's like, this is too much.
He used to shame people out of the room, but now he's like, no, I got to murder people now.
Yeah. Bro, because that's what it escalates to, right? Like at this point in our society, we're at shame. You can shame people out of rooms, out of careers and shit.
Yeah. So after throwing them in jail, he introduced himself to Russians as the leader of the Soviet Union, and how he got people on his side to be like, yo, I'm taking shit over now. But just for the majority, I'm just telling you guys it's going to be better for everyone. He's like, there's going to be peace, there's going to be bread, and there's going to be land. Those were his 3 things. He just put it simply as that so dumb people can understand.
True.
You guys don't have that right now? I got that. So his first act was to end the war with Germany. Now, for somebody that was called a German spy, for that to be his first act, people were down with it because they wanted the war to be done. But at the same time, that's pretty fishy.
Yeah.
That's pretty German spy. Oh, your first act is to end the war?
Yeah.
But people were happy. People were happy about it because they didn't want to be at war.
And he accomplished it?
Yeah, he
that is weird because he can just walk up to like the Germans and be like, "Hey, we want to end this," and they're like, "Cool, no problem, end it."
I don't know. They said it's a myth that he was a German spy, but the fact is he went to Germany, print off newspapers there. He ends up getting his first act as running Russia, and it's to end the war with Germany. There's a lot of things that could lead you to believe that he was a German spy.
Because then they could back him. Like if he was, they could back him financially.
Yeah.
They could they can make it so he could take over.
Now when he took over, even though he said that there was going to be peace, bread, and land, one of his acts was to tell peasants to kill their landlords. Because all this, remember I told you before, like they abolished slavery, but they were still getting like, you still owed money to your landlords. He's like, by the way, that money you owe, you know how to get rid of it? Kill your landlord.
Where do you think all the land's going to come from?
Which is like, okay, so it's so confusing right now because I'm like, when I see people saying that what's happening right now in Canada, America, whatever, is communism, one of the things is like this whole landlord shit. Like people
Yeah.
aren't getting allowed to be evicted and stuff. I don't know what side's communism. Are the landlords communists? Are these people, or the people that are living there communists?
I think it works against both sides, right? Like if you can all of a sudden get kicked out of a place, that hurts the landlord, and you being dependent on the government actually hurts you. Like in the long run, it doesn't feel like it when you're like being supported, but like the second it goes away, or the second you break a rule, or the second whatever the fuck happens, then all of a sudden you start to feel it.
It's crazy.
So
yeah, this is where things started to get violent in Russia. He kill landlords, and he encouraged violence against the upper class. Even though like I said, he's not flashy about it, but when you're fucking the one living in the palace fucking running shit, how could you not be upper class? Like, I don't understand how he's like, kill the upper class. That's that Marxism thing. It's like they say there has to be a class war. There has to be a class war. Like,
there has to be a class war, but the people who are saying it are rich.
They're out. They're out of it. It's like same way with taxes. You get when you make a lot of money, you get taxed heavily. But then if you reach a certain point of making even more money than that, you have like these loopholes to get out of paying your taxes. So that's, I guess, what this shit is like. Kill that upper class, but the class that's right above them, don't even look at us.
Yeah. No.
We're just telling you to kill those guys.
We're helping you.
Yeah,
we've set all this up for you guys. That's how it is. Even now, like that's how they always position themselves.
And obviously, you're gonna treat your army right. So his army was treated great, and he had an army of 200,000 in the Red Army. We've heard of the Red Army. And he had the leftover royal family killed. It was a secret, and it wasn't until years later that Russians found out. Because even though there was some bad outlook at the Russians, the royals, some people did love them, because people do like God save the. Even when they did that protest, they're singing God save the Tsar, and even if they didn't like the king, they still liked his kids. Like they're like, oh, he's a cute little prince. You know what I mean? And he killed the women and children as well, which was
of all the royals.
He kept it a secret, but years later, people found out. Oh man, he fucking killed that little boy.
Yeah, he had to. You know what would happen? That kid would rise up, and he'd be the rightful king of the place. And so that's exactly why he did it.
He saw The Lion King.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's like Saturn. That's what Saturn did. Saturn saw the kids, and he was like, nah.
No kids
Let me
allowed.
bite the head off this thing.
Damn, son. And now some of the rules obviously didn't turn out good for these peasants that he was supposed to be helping. Now, he made farmers weren't allowed to keep or sell their own crops. They were distributed equally throughout the country. That's that communist shit. And people weren't allowed to choose their own jobs. He's like, we need you to be this. We need you to be that. Like, there's no hopes and dreams out here.
Exactly.
We're running a country, not a fucking play date.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
That's what happens in every place where this stuff is flourished. Except for China. It seems like China can still kind of do what they want. They can like become different things.
Except for have daughters.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. That's insane.
A woman attempted to assassinate him and was executed. But from that day forward, he showed no mercy to anyone that showed the smallest opposition to his rule. This is when he started executing people in mass numbers. Like,
get into it.
Let me look up how many people he executed.
He's like, I just killed a prince and a princess. So everybody else, it's going to be easy for me to execute you guys. He's probably doing mass shit too. So
under Lenin's rule, there were 28,000 executions
every
year.
So yeah, see, that's what I thought. It's just mass numbers of people, just like every day. Isn't that fucked?
That's fucked. It's like, yo.
Because how much is? Oh, I wish I had a calculator. 365. What the fuck? That's so many people per day.
Because obviously farmers weren't happy with like how this worked out for them, because before he was telling them like, oh, I'm gonna make shit better for everyone, but now he's like, by the way, you can't feed your own family, you have to give those shit away. Like, yeah, you're gonna get a portion of it, but not as much as you would have liked when you're running your own shit.
Yeah.
Now anytime farmers tried to protest, even though before he's like, I'm gonna help out with the protest, oh, you guys are getting killed by the government, I'm coming back to help. No, now that the protests are against his rule, they were also killed. Like,
of course.
Any rebellion was quickly squashed. So there was a couple times people tried to rise up and be like, hey, we don't really like this communist shit. He's like, no, you do.
I can't hear you guys. What'd you say? Say it again.
So up he kept running at communism up until there was a drought and a famine. So at this time, he temporarily stopped communism. He allowed farmers to feed their families and sell their excess crops for money. What is this? Capitalism? And apparently that shit worked like a charm.
Yeah, of course it did.
Of course it did. Capitalism is so sick. But when the drought ended and people could start being fed in mass numbers again, things went back to normal. He went back to communism. He's like, no, we're going back to that shit. We're not going to be capitalists.
He's like, you guys okay? Your ribs aren't showing anymore? All right, back to it.
So he ended up, like I said, Stalin is the guy that took over for him. Apparently when Stalin, he's like, he handpicked him. Like, he's like, Stalin, that's going to be the next dude who took over probably in like the early 1920s.
Wow.
But he regretted his decision because he started noticing this guy's like, he's too rude. He's too like power hungry. Like
brash.
Too brash. And he's like, he regretted his decision, but it was already too late. Like Stalin started running shit, and Stalin ended up being one of the most like brutal dictators of all time. But when I looked into Lenin, they're both on the list of top 10 most ruthless leaders. That's a tough, say that.
Most ruthless leaders.
Oh, maybe my tongue's too big for my mouth. I don't know why it was so hard for me to say that.
We have lisps, so it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, you like that shit?
Sentence like that, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Most ruthless leaders. Okay, got it. They're both on the top 10 list. Like, and I knew Stalin would be there, but Lenin, like, I just don't hear that name again. But I get enough. But I guess it's because his reign was fairly short. Because he died in his 50s. Like he died. He had like 3 strokes, and eventually one killed him. It's tough when you get all these ideas flowing and you keep coming back to the country, leaving again, coming back.
He's like, there's so many.
It was a lot on his plate.
Yeah, there's so many people to kill. They're not listening to my ideas. I'm the majority. They just don't understand.
Yeah, like, do you guys not get it? I'm the majority.
He's like,
and
gotta kill him.
I have to kill 28,000 people a year to make sure that majority stays the majority.
He's like, and kids. He's like, I gotta kill kids. He's like, they're the future.
Yeah. So he died in 1924, but even though like you would think a dictator like this wouldn't have a lot of love, he did have a lot of love in the country. Hundreds of thousands of people showed up to his funeral, and people believed that he was a savior of Russia because he was the one that like changed the game there. And there was lots of soldiers that thought he was great. There was lots of, I guess, I don't think farmers really liked him, but
farmers are like, no, I work all day to only make enough crops to feed my family. Like
the aftermath of his reign was, Russia did get ahead in terms of like education and like stuff like that. Like they were behind the rest of the world for the longest time. Now they were like fucking working on a space program, doing all this shit.
I was gonna say they're smart as fuck now.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that was my first thought when you said that. I'm like, if that's because of him, that's fucked.
Right? The Russian science program, like all that stuff was from him.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so funny because Castro, like, same thing with like doctors in Cuba. Like, they're like amazing. Apparently, like they're incredible doctors over there, and their literacy rate is like, I think it's like 98%, 99%.
Yeah, same with Lenin. Like he made Russians be able to. Not to say that he made them be able to read, but he stepped up the literacy there, and he stepped up the science program, and he stepped up all this stuff. So there was good aftermath of what he did. He was actually, I don't know if mummified is the right word, but they embalmed him so that people could pay respects to his body just sitting there for decades after. Like people really showed love for this. Yeah, they kept his body there. They also sent his baby picture into space.
What?
Yeah.
That's not good, guys. That's gonna be our representative. Jesus. What if they have technology to just scan a face and they just know everything about them? And they're gonna be like, that's what goes on over there.
Ooh.
Be like, what the fuck?
That's why aliens never came to Earth, because they're like, fuck communism.
Yeah, they found that one picture. Like, what the fuck?
Aliens are capitalists for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's why they're flying around the way they are. They're capitalists for sure. We're like, they're working class. Imagine that.
So his reputation became more powerful after death. Like I said, they started seeing him as a savior. They were like, when you're not hanging around killing 28,000 people a year, and the system is just progressing, like education and everything. Now they're like, you know what? This guy was pretty sick, actually.
When you break up with a chick, you think about the ass. You don't think about the fights and shit.
You don't think about the time that she threw your cell phone at your forehead. You think about the time that you're hugging and kissing her.
Right. Back shots.
Yeah, 1991 is when they started tearing down his statues. So from 1924 to 91, like there was still like pretty good sentiment of him, but then eventually people started looking back on what he did, and they're like, all right, we're tearing down his shit. They had the capital city of Russia was renamed Leningrad, but now they switched it back to St. Petersburg, which is still known to this day. But it was 1991 where that changed. So there was a good almost 70 years of it being called Leningrad. Yeah.
Oh, so they kind of went through like what we're going through now.
What?
Where they're like looking into things and switching it up and tearing things down. That was 1991. They were doing shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all the way over here and now we're doing shit like that.
Wow. Fuck, man.
It's because they've penetrated our society.
I wonder what Putin thinks about Lenin.
Yeah, right? Like I wonder.
They're both named Vladimir.
Yeah, maybe he liked them.
Was he was probably just a child. I don't even know if he was alive when
he probably liked them just in the sense of a man who can like conquer shit. Like if you're a leader, you probably respect a leader. Like you can respect him without like smiling about the people that he killed, you know?
So I googled Putin versus Lenin. Why the Russian president won't remove Soviet Union's founder. A full century since seizing the reins of the Russian state from the grip of a weak cabinet and ousted royal destiny, Vladimir Lenin can still draw a crowd in Russia's capital, Moscow. A full century since seizing the reins of Russia's state from the grip of weak cabinet and ousted royal dynasty. Okay, that just repeated the same thing. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who wrote this shit?
Fuck. Right, I would think, because you know, like I would be surprised if that wasn't like his story, what he like, his thoughts and everything. I would be surprised as the leader of Russia if that wasn't like required reading. Like when you become president of the United States, there's like 2 books that they require you to read.
Really, eh?
Yeah, one's about this king. I think he was a Persian king. I want to say Cyrus. Something like that. But
and they make you read that as an American president?
When you become president, there's 2 books that they say you have to read.
Yeah, man. I think so this Lenin guy, as far as pros and cons go and how he's remembered, I guess they've already decided to tear his shit down, but at the same time, like, they're still a communist place, so it's like it's not like they changed what he started.
They changed, like you said before about him, like they kind of just repackaged. You know, they were like, okay, the world looks at this guy like this. We don't want to be seen like this, so we'll kind of just like switch things up, like we're progressing, but we're actually just the same. You know.
So Vladimir Putin shows lax enthusiasm about Lenin. He accused him of ruling poorly and metaphorically placing an atomic bomb under Russia, but he has so far bowed to the status quo in regards to Lenin. So even though he says he did things the wrong way, he's still kind of like carrying on with what he started. So
doesn't want to upset it.
Yeah, look at that, those 3 in a row: Lenin, Stalin, Putin. Damn.
Putin looks the best, I think.
Putin is a fucking man.
Yeah, he's a man.
You seen him riding that riding that horse
shirtless like nothing.
Yeah.
Biden could never. Trudeau could never. Shirtless like that.
Oh, okay.
Man has pecs.
Cause yeah. So Lenin was embalmed for the longest time, and then I guess so a total of 6 deputies, 3 from Putin's party and 3 more from pro-Tsarist, drafted a motion to bury Lenin. They buried. He was embalmed and able for people to go pay respects to his body for that long, decades, and then finally Putin took over and he's like, we're gonna bury this motherfucker.
He's like, it's time to put him in the ground. You guys should be focusing on me. Thank you.
Wow.
Not on this old man.
Well,
placed atom bomb under Russia. I think it's like guys like this. It's like everything. I can respect the determination. Like that come up's a good come up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just they go wild at the end, or at the end in the middle. Or with him, it was like from the beginning. He was always wild. Cruel tyrant, bro. Like he was wild. But you gotta respect that determination. It's like Christopher Columbus when he's like, "Yo, just give me 50 men, and I'm gonna kill a bunch of people."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's wild.
He stormed the Capitol.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Right.
People tried to storm the Capitol. And then, but then
True.
people that tried to storm the Capitol this time were they think they're anti-communist. They think they're anti-communist, but then that's what I'm saying. Like, these people that are saying they're anti-communist are doing
the same shit.
The blueprint that this guy put out.
It's like everybody's just taking the same blueprint or rule books and they're just using it for their own side. Like, it's weird.
I feel like overall this guy, the idea of a communist utopia, it sounds good to some people, but I don't get who it sounds good. Like, it doesn't sound good to me.
It does. I don't know who.
Distributing wealth equally and giving people food equally and not being able to work to better your life to go above the middle class. I don't like it. I don't like that idea.
No, that'd be terrible. Like, because then what we got, like, I don't know, what becomes the incentive to like working these jobs and doing all this shit? You're just kind of working. It's like more than working for an employer. It's like you're working for like this. It's like a slave master almost. Because you're like so indoctrinated or so indebted to them. Like, you can't do anything. And then they own all your shit. And like, what do you actually own? Like, it's so weird. Like in Cuba, you know how long it takes to fucking own a house, or the process of like getting your own house.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous.
The idea behind it, the whole like how they present it to the poor people, it sounds like a good idea at the time. They're like, everyone's gonna eat now, everyone's gonna have a house, everyone's gonna be taken care of. But then once it actually happens, it doesn't work out good for poor people. So fuck communism, I think.
Yeah, my grandmother, she was in Cuba and she left just as that shit was like kicking off. Like if it was like if we were talking about today's standards, like we got shut down like last year, March 10th or something.
Yeah,
she bounced like April.
She left here.
No, like if this was Cuba.
Okay.
It was like, okay,
it's starting.
Bye.
I smell communism.
Yeah, she says,
it's begun.
I'm out. I'm going to Jamaica. Them niggas is relaxed over there.
Yeah.
She's just like,
try and fucking start communism in Jamaica.
Over.
They're just like, nah, man.
Listen, relax with all them talks, okay?
Me not ramp with no communist ideals.
You see this money? This my money, and I not giving it to everyone around here. You understand? This is my money. This is my cigarette. This is my weed. You're not touching none of this.
Me not go and pass these money like it's a spliff.
This not community money here. Yeah. This money I work for, you know.
Lenin seems like, you know, he was fired up about communist shit. He read the Karl Marx blueprint. He fucking got that gangster shit started the party, but he didn't end up being a good leader.
No. Or he said he did end up being a good leader, or didn't?
I don't think he did, but
no, I don't think so either. I think he became, like I said before, a determined leader. You know, but that's the thing about like this type of shit. Like, in order to become that determined leader, you got to like murder people who oppose you right away.
They said like Lenin had unwavering faith and a religious faith in the Marxian gospel. He really believed in that shit that hard. Yeah, man. I'm just not down with the communist utopia. It just it ain't for me, because I just want to. No. I want the opportunity to fucking get rich or die trying.
Yeah, I'm smart. I'm smarter than most. Okay, all right. I'm gonna be a millionaire, and I just want to be one. Thank you. I don't want to give it to everybody.
Exactly.
It's insane. Could you imagine you make that? It's almost like what people are going through in California. Like, could you imagine like you're like this high executive or whatever, and they're like 62% tax? You'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I got
62%. Like, what the fuck? Or even more for some people.
I got taxed almost 50% on my last check. I made $1,900. I got taxed $1,600.
What? No,
I mean, like, okay, so I gross.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They took $1,600 out, and I took home $1,900.
Yeah.
So I've never seen a check like that.
But some of that goes to you. Like, if you look at where it's going, some of that's like going to you in the future and stuff.
Yeah, that's what Lenin told the farmers. Anyways, yeah, man, I think this guy was a bad boy. I learned more about him. I learned where communism started from. I learned how it got started. And it wasn't that easy. It's not like he said, hey guys, we're gonna be communists and everything's gonna work. He came, he tried to give a speech, he got kicked out. He came and tried to give another speech, he got kicked out. Eventually he fucking took leadership at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey guys, peace, bread, land, you got it.
Yeah.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
28,000 dead a year. That's how communism goes.
Yeah, basically.
Executed.
Basically, it's like you think You're letting that like one person in, and you think it's gonna be all good, and then they just fucking go ape shit the second you start disagreeing with them. It's weird, man. And then yeah, I don't even want to get into like today, but like it's similar.
It is similar. If you guys really want to do some more research, look into Lenin's rise and oh well, he died. He didn't really fall. Look into Lenin's rise and see the mirror images of what's happening now, and see how much it compares to communism. Because I keep hearing that come up, that what's going on now is leading towards communism. I don't know. I hope that's not true. But you can definitely see some similarities in what's happening now. But the funny thing is, where I'm seeing the similarities is the people that are saying
they're
anti-communism, and they are actually acting as this communist blueprint.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. And then the people who, yeah, it's odd. It's odd that people are taking this stance. And the more you talk to them about it, the more they're into it. And then you see that these people are actually into Marxism. A lot of these people, they're really into it. They're into the idea of it. Because, like you said, it seems like it's really beneficial. It seems like it's just eat the rich. But like once the rich are dead,
it is, bro.
But once the rich are dead, who's left to eat?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
it. Yeah, man. I don't. So communism is eat the rich, is it not?
That's what it seems like. It's like, yo, these people have the like. Because if you think of it, like if you just think of it in terms of money, and now obviously I don't know what I'm talking about, but if you thought of it in terms of money, like that upper class would be like a $10 billion bubble. And it's like, if we can just pop that bubble, then in theory, like that should come down to us. But it's like, if there's somebody who is directing all of you how to pop this bubble, then probably it's going to trickle to them.
It's going to trickle to him.
You know what I mean?
His friends and families are going to eat good. And then the next class down is going to be like, wait, what the fuck did we do that for?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, guys, be careful who you listen to.
Exactly. That's facts. Be careful who you listen to. Whether you're left, right.
Yeah. Be careful who you make your hero.
Yeah, man.
Your king.
Yeah.
Your Tsar. Whatever it is. Like that I see people idolizing the wrong people right now. Like I get what they want. I get this has been a frustrating time for everyone, but there's certain people that people are making their person to look to in a time of trouble that I think is going to end up bad.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I always learned from like life coaches and stuff like that, because I'm into personal development and shit. It's like when you take someone as a mentor, you don't just like if you're a businessman, you're really successful, and I want to be a businessman that's really successful. People think like, oh, then I should get mentored by you. But if you also hit your wife and you do this and you do that and you do all these other shit, like I shouldn't actually model myself to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't be taking it. So you should learn more about the person that you're going to try and be like mentored by or take as your leader, you know?
That's a great point. You hear some ideas you like, do a little more digging into the person giving them to you. Not to say that they're bad ideas, but just be careful who you make your king, because that person might end up in power, and then you realize, oh, that's actually not a good person. They just said a couple hot ideas that I like: land, bread, peace. Lenin, 28,000 executed a year after he gets in power. So, yeah, land, bread, peace sounds like a good idea, but look into who's doing it. Look into everyone that disagreed with him before, all in his years of the comeback. Not that they got executed, but they got shamed out of the room. He didn't even want anyone challenging ideas in the room. Yeah. Now, once you get in power, okay, now I'm not going to just make fun of you to get out of the room. I'm not going to shame you out of the room. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be careful who you make your heroes, guys. Pros and Conquerors, the bad boys of history. I'm James. Jam Easy Cummins. I'm here with Colin.
Wait.
At Colin's Process.
Wait. One thing.
Who would play him in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Vladimir Lenin. Let's look at his picture first, because
I go Daniel Craig.
You know what he looks like already?
I go Daniel Craig. Okay, if we're going to go like this then.
I'm just trying to think.
I can't use my phone.
What?
There's an actor that looks just like this guy. I don't know.
A good actor?
Yeah, he's an incredible actor. Fuck. I can't remember what his name is. Damn.
The first person that I think of when I look at him that I think could do it, I don't even know if this person's still alive. No, he's dead now. Sean Connery.
Oh, shit. Yeah. That's probably who I'm thinking of. Yeah, he'd be perfect.
But he's dead now. So out of live actors... So we'll paint the picture for you guys at home, or go Google a picture of Lenin. Okay, Google a picture of Lenin. Now, when I think about his come up, he has to be a little bit evil. He has to have a little bit of charisma, because people are liking his shit, and he has to be smart. I'm going to say somebody that could play him. I'm trying to think bald men.
Ooh, you know where I'm going? I'm going Tom Hardy.
No, you can't do that to my boy, my man crush.
What do you mean?
I don't want him playing this piece of garbage.
Oh, fuck that. Come on. He can do it, bro. Because look at this mustache. I know he can do that mustache. I know he could do a shaved head.
I could see that.
Because he did Bronson.
Yeah.
He could pull that
He could
off.
definitely pull it off. All right, fuck. Tom Hardy. He could. Yeah, Tom Hardy. I've seen Tom Hardy act evil too. In The Revenant.
True. Yeah, exactly.
In The Revenant, he plays a bad character, and that's probably one of my favorite roles. So I think that's a good choice. Tom Hardy as Vladimir Lenin,
And
a story, the birth of communism, but
and then Stalin would have to be in it, a young Stalin.
a young Stalin. Yeah, but he would be like one of those characters that's like, if you're watching a Marvel movie, like the post credit scene that comes in, and it's like
Easter egg type.
Yeah.
Just so you know, there's gonna be a sequel to this.
Sequel
whole thing.
to Stalin.
It's not stopping here.
The USSR universe.
Fuck yeah, right. Oh my god, that'd be good. I don't know. I think that'd be a good movie. And then you'd have to have some love interest in there.
Yeah, he had a wife.
I'll put Gal Gadot right in there. Just throw her right in there.
Just throw her in there.
Yeah, I want a star-studded event when we do this.
Definitely.
Right?
100%. We're gonna make some capitalist money on this shit. We're gonna exploit these commies.
I think there is going to be some movies on these guys because, like, in the black world, they're starting to touch on Fred Hampton. They're like starting to touch on the heroes, and I think they're going to start doing like this shit too. I think I don't know, man, because I think the as far as capitalism is what makes movies. Right. Fucking
and
right.
And there's still a big fear of communism. So they could make it, but they're going to make it all the evil side. They're not going to really show like good shit.
Yeah, no, they're gonna make it completely evil. Of course, and they're gonna make it like fucking mirror like Republicans and stuff because it's Hollywood. That's how we do.
Tom Hardy, I could really play this guy though. I'm looking at his face. The more I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I could totally see that.
Right.
Stay tuned. We're gonna start a fucking.
Should we just start a movie company?
We're gonna start a movie company, and we're gonna have all these. We have like, this one isn't the most exciting movie I'm about. There's some that we have that I'm very excited about making.
I think the Jesus is Jason Momoa is Jesus.
Jason Momoa's Jesus is a good one. Our Shaka Zulu one, I think, is, even though they've made a Shaka Zulu movie, like our idea for it is like it's gonna take it to the next level.
It's like it's Shaka Zulu like Black Panther style, you know, not this like whatever they did. It's like Black Panther, like that, you know, that type of world, you know.
Oh. You're saying Black Panther the movie, not Black Panther.
No, yeah.
I was thinking like Fred Hampton or the Black Panther body. You know?
No. Yeah, no, I'm talking about the movie. It would be like that. That's how Shaka Zulu is.
Shout out to all our past episodes, guys. If you haven't listened to them, go listen at the Bad Boys of History. You can find me at jam_easy. You can find him at
Collins Process, doing it big.
And also tune into our new show where we talk about what's going on right now. It's Wagwan with the Wagwan. Wagwan with the Wagwan. It has a great intro song, and yeah, man, just keep paying attention to what we're doing. That one's current events, this one's history, and everything in between. Thanks for listening. Peace.
That's a good way to do it. It's a good way.
Thank you for listening to Pros and Conquerors, the Bad Boys of History. Rate, review, subscribe, and share. And remember to participate on our Instagram and shit and all that good stuff and blah, blah, blah. Follow us on Instagram.